Professor Sangeeta Srivastava has been appointed as the new regular Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University. She is the first woman chosen for this post at Allahabad University. She will take charge today, said the university's Registrar, Professor N.K.
The University of Allahabad was tottering on almost every front when 2 years ago hope shone on a bright morning. The University of Allahabad had to wait for 134-year history to unfold as one of its own occupied the esteemed office of the Vice Chancellor, and it got its first Lady Vice Chancellor. The elation and the joy were strengthened into faith after the first historic speech where Professor Sangeeta Srivastava spelled out a clear agenda to steer the institution out of the dark despair. She saw with clarity that the university needed to be given academic, administrative, aesthetic, cultural, but most of all, the human touch. And like a true leader, she reached out to one and all with marathon rounds of meetings with all the departments. The people got their first taste that the times they were a-changing when close on heels of the Vice Chancellor assuming charge, the Union Minister of State for Education, Shri Dhotre, visited the university and was mesmerized by the stately grace of the Senate Hall. Closely following, the Honorable Governor of Uttar Pradesh, Srimati Anandi Ben Patel, graced the inauguration of the renovated and restored Vizianagaram Hall. And as the beauty of the Vizianagaram Hall spread its enchantment, the Union Minister for Education, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, and the Honorable Chancellor, Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan, added distinction to the Convocation 2021. Another event that occupies a cherished memory is the hosting of the Vijay Mashal, which was received in a function befitting the historicity of the event. Also drawn to the increasingly cemented reputation of the university was the maiden visit of the Honorable Ambassador of France to India. But not for nothing did such esteemed dignitaries come. They were witnessing a transformation, or rather a new beginning, unfold under the leadership of Professor Sangeeta Srivastava. And begin she did from the scratch in almost each of these aspects. To revive the institution, the most important thing was to infuse the lifeblood of academics in the form of new faculty, as the institution was reeling under acute shortage of teachers. But before work could take off, the shadows of COVID began to engulf the country. Sensing the impending danger, even while others were thinking about how to proceed to tackle the crisis, the university was shut down, and we could only speculate how many lives were saved. And while keeping people safe was her priority, carrying out the agenda laid out was not far down the list of priorities. The pace of work kept on and did not stop. It simply shifted into the online mode, as did the teaching and examination. And that too after ensuring that the ICT infrastructure of each department was strengthened. The results were that the roster of teachers and non-teaching staff were prepared, long pending CAS for teachers began to be held, and after 40 years, the notional promotion of the non-teaching staff were made, infusing enthusiasm and hope even as the shadows of COVID was slowly receding and life was returning to normal. She knew that a website, scalable and easy to navigate, creates an impression about the university as a place active, alive, and throbbing with academic zest. And the result is there for us to see on a single click. As the teachers and students slowly returned to the campus, a magic seems to have struck the campus, which looked cleaner, neater, and greener than ever before. The garbage mounds that dotted every campus of the university were disappearing and getting replaced by green stretches, flower beds resplendent with colorful blooms, and fountains infusing life with its spouts and sprays. It is not magic, but the love for flowers and beautifully landscaped gardens that is reflected in all the serene spaces coming up around us, where students can sit in peace and study. The shining new avatar of the campus has attracted big names in Bollywood who would like to shoot their movies in the campus. Ayushmann Khurrana and Shefali Chaya starrer Dr. G and Tigmanshu Dhulia's web series Garmi have been shot here. And there are several other highly acclaimed names waiting for approval. The campus had been there for more than a century, but it is only the eye of a connoisseur which could evoke the hidden beauty in its splendor. And just as familiar was getting the strengthening infrastructure of the university. As old buildings got a facelift, under construction buildings, including Shyamji Krishna Varma Boys Hostel, an extension of the International Hostel, Gargi Girls Hostel, and the MN Saha Instrumentation Center and Space Research Center were brought up to completion. And the Ishwar Topa complex was given a befitting purpose of a multi-purpose hall, the incubation center, spacious classrooms, and state-of-art language labs. Setting up of the Major Dhyan Chand Students Activity Center with facilities for indoor games and the creation of state-of-art hockey turf along with basketball and volleyball courts are important impetus to the sports infrastructure of the university in an attempt to draw in as many students as possible in physical activities. And also plans were set afoot for several projects for the future, including better residential facilities for the faculty, a state-of-art auditorium under the Smart City project. Also, tucked in the Vijayanagaram Hall was brought up a museum gallery and a memorabilia shop which holds items that people visiting the campus take away as cherished memory. The very entrance of the university bears witness to the changes as each of them has a name, a number, and an aesthetic appropriate to their status as the entrance to the fourth oldest university of the country. The agenda of sprucing up and updating also included creating some basic functioning units essential in a modern university like the CSR cell, the IQAC cell, and the Incubation Center Coordination Committee. Also updating the state-of-art technological infrastructure has been the recently acquired facility for testing microwave antenna installed in the JK Institute. As a person who has single-handedly led the Department of Home Science for 20 years and ensured that there is an all-round development and grooming of her students, Professor Srivastava realized the importance of a life beyond the books. and the larger body of the university faculty and students saw this begin to happen with the convocation dinner. A night to remember for an otherworldly ambiance, complemented by the lilting tunes of Basuri by the local street artist. Also, the theatre festival, where life and stories of Jim Corbett were brought alive by the troupe from Ramnagar. Her appreciation of art and the need to nurture art and theatre within the campus to inculcate a healthy campus life led her to give her unmitigated support to restoring the stage for the Center for Theatre and Films, after which several plays and film screenings have taken place there. Her ability of scouting for talent and nurturing the standard bearers of excellence does not stop at this. In fact, the biggest story of her keen eye for talent and excellence is written over the pages containing the 240 faculty recruitments she has made. The list is a veritable example of national integration with people from every nook and corner of the country bearing qualifications and experience gained from some of the most prestigious institutions, not just across the country, but across the world. There were departments where appointments had not been made for more than 30 years, and there were others that were left with no faculty, or where no faculty had ever been appointed. The love underlines every decision she makes and every task she has carried out with complete commitment, absolute integrity, and unending hard work. We are proud of her and dedicate these lines to her grit and her determination.
लोग कहेंगे आगे जाना मुश्किल क्या नामुमकिन है, सच में ऐसा कर दिखलाना मुश्किल क्या नामुमकिन है, फिर भी तू हर हाल चला तो क्या मुश्किल नामुमकिन है, राह के पत्थर सीढ़ी बनना क्या मुश्किल नामुमकिन है, मन में लगन लगी है तो फिर क्या मुश्किल क्या नामुमकिन है।